Have you ever thought about how much of a difference just one person can make in your life? We live in a world that glorifies independence and self-made success. We hear stories of people who seemingly pulled themselves up from nothing, who conquered the impossible on their own. But when you look closer, when you dig beneath the surface of every great story, you will always find one constant, a person who believed in them when no one else did. It's easy to assume that success requires a huge support system, an army of people cheering you on. But in reality, it only takes one. Just one person to see something in you that you might not even see in yourself. One person to remind you in your weakest moment that you are capable, that you are worthy, that you have something valuable to offer. This is the power of human connection. So think back to a time when you doubted yourself. A time when you felt like quitting, when everything felt overwhelming. Maybe it was a failure, a heartbreak, a setback that shook your confidence. What made you keep going? Chances are it wasn't a motivational video or a self-help book. It was a person. Maybe it was a friend who wouldn't let you sink into despair. Maybe it was a mentor who reminded you of your potential. Maybe it was a family member who told you, "I believe in you," even when you didn't believe in yourself. This is what we often overlook in our journey. We become so consumed with the idea that we have to do everything alone that we fail to see the quiet impact of that one person who keeps us standing. They may not always be loud. They may not make grand gestures. But their presence, their belief in us, is often the single most powerful force that pushes us forward. And what's even more incredible, sometimes that person doesn't even realize the role they play in our lives. They might think they're just being kind, just doing what anyone would do. But for the person on the receiving end, their support can be life-changing. The smallest encouragement, the simplest reminder of worth, can be the difference between someone giving up and someone pushing forward. The truth is, no one does it alone, and if we stop for a moment to reflect, we can all think of at least one person who has been that source of strength for us. Maybe it was a teacher who took extra time to encourage us. Maybe it was a coach who saw potential we hadn't yet realized. Maybe it was a friend who listened when we needed it most. Their role may not have been dramatic, but their impact was profound. The question is, do we acknowledge these people enough? Do we recognize the power of their presence in our lives? And even more importantly, do we make the effort to be that person for someone else? If you think about it, the greatest impact we can have in this world doesn't come from achieving personal success. It doesn't come from wealth, fame, or status. It comes from the way we show up for others. It comes from being that one person in someone's life who makes them feel seen, supported, and valued. Imagine a world where every person made it their mission to be that one person for someone else. Imagine if we didn't just focus on our own struggles, but instead looked around and asked, "Who needs me right now?" The truth is, everyone is fighting a battle we cannot see. Everyone, at some point, feels alone, lost, or overwhelmed. And in those moments, the difference between hope and despair is often the presence of one person who refuses to let them go unnoticed. Being that person doesn't require grand gestures. It doesn't mean fixing someone's problems or having all the right answers. It simply means showing up. It means listening when someone needs to be heard. It means offering a kind word when someone feels invisible. It means reminding people of their worth, even when they can't see it themselves. Think about how easy it is to make someone's day better. A simple "I believe in you" can be the encouragement someone needs to keep going. A small act of kindness, a word of affirmation, a moment of genuine attention, these are things that cost us nothing, but their value is immeasurable. And here's the thing, when you become that person for someone else, you don't just change their life, you change your own. Because when we lift others up, we grow stronger ourselves. When we choose to support, encourage, and believe in others, we create a ripple effect that extends far beyond what we can see. That one moment of kindness, that one act of belief can inspire someone to do the same for someone else. And before we know it, we've created a chain reaction of positivity and support. Think about the times in your life when someone showed up for you. Think about the difference it made. Now imagine how many people around you need that same support right now. Maybe it's a friend who's struggling silently. Maybe it's a coworker who's overwhelmed but doesn't want to ask for help. Maybe it's a young person who just needs someone to tell them, "You matter." We often underestimate our ability to change someone's life. We assume that impact is reserved for those in leadership positions, for those with influence and authority. But the reality is, every single one of us has the power to be that one person for someone else. And sometimes it's the smallest acts that make the biggest difference. So, ask yourself, who can you show up for today? Who in your life needs a reminder that they are not alone? Who is waiting for someone to believe in them the way someone once believed in you? Because at the end of the day, success, happiness, and fulfillment are not measured by what we achieve alone. They are measured by the connections we build, the lives we touch, and the moments when we choose to show up for someone else. And the best part, you don't have to be perfect to make an impact. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to be willing to care. You just have to be willing to be present. Because all it takes is one person to believe, one person to encourage, one person to remind us that we are not alone. And today you have the opportunity to be that person for someone else.